And for Arlen Owensby, that trip leads back to where it all began, in San Francisco. The self-described deadhead from Seattle has been chasing the vibe since the early days, attending nearly every concert the Grateful Dead and now Dead & Company have played.
This is like somewhere around my 50th show. It's a feeling that I get, when I hang out with people.
He's picking up some fresh merchandise at this pop-up at the Bill Graham Auditorium before the 3-day concert series kicks off at Golden Gate Park's iconic Polo Fields, where the band played 60 years ago. And while some fans will be wearing flowers in their hair, Arlen will be passing them out in honor of a love that never fades.
And I give roses away in remembrance of my late wife because we've done many shows together, so I just hand roses out and have a good time.
Dead & Company just keeps trucking, starting on August 1st. A full weekend pass starts at $635, a far cry from the few bucks it took to catch the band back in the 60s. But even with steep prices, the Summer of Sound is expected to bring in big-time returns to the tune of an estimated $150 million in economic impact for the city, thanks not only to this series, but also the Outside Lands Music Festival beginning on August 8th and a one-night show with Zach Bryan and Kings of Leon on August 15th.
Visitors from across the region and across the world are coming to our city. For the next month, San Francisco is going to be the music capital of the world.
This marks the first time Golden Gate Park has hosted 3 weeks of back-to-back-to-back concerts, transforming the sprawling fields into a world of good vibes and potentially a soft security target. Interim Police Chief Paul Yep says his department is ready with a mix of on-duty and overtime officers.
San Francisco is safer than any time in many of our lifetimes.
But this weekend is about the feeling the music brings.
What we're thinking about is a peaceful planet. We're not thinking about anything else.
Rec and Parks Director Phil Ginsburg admits 3 weekends of music may strike a sour note for some neighbors, but promises the joy and civic benefit will be worth it. The neighboring Richmond and Sunset districts will receive about $35,000 each to their associations as part of a Goodwill Encore.
Great cities do great things, and to say that there is no inconvenience to the neighborhoods on something like this with so many people coming into the park isn't true. The idea here is to bring so much joy, and some of the lasting benefit and economic impact benefits our park system and benefits these neighborhoods year round.
And as Arlen heads back to the Polo Fields, he won't just be surrounded by music, but by a family of friends, old and new, chasing a familiar feeling.
It's all about the love. It's all about the way people feel.
I'm all for people making money, but it seems a little excessive to me. I'm sure it's a big production. It costs a lot to put on, but I don't know. Couldn't they have done it for $100? $150 maybe?
Aside from the Dead & Company concerts, the city is also unveiling the new Jerry Garcia street sign today. There's also a Jerry Day concert tomorrow. The Giants are going to hold their own celebration at Oracle Park on August 12th when they host the San Diego Padres. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, local park becoming the scene of a police investigation. Now what we are learning, that investigators found buried beneath the ground. Plus concern that more crimes are going unreported because of the crackdown on immigration. The new effort to protect undocumented crime victims and witnesses.
Heading into this weekend's forecast, we're going to start noticing a little bit of a warm up, or a lot of bit of a warm up, depending on where you live in the Bay Area. Our inland spots are going to see the most heat as high pressure starts to creep its way in. It drops our relative humidity, and we're going to see warmer temperatures around the corner too, all the way up into the 90s as we head into next week, which we really haven't seen a lot of in the month of July. Keep in mind, most of us here in the Bay Area have been below average for the past 4 weeks, so we're starting to see some heat build into the Bay, and that means we're going to see a return to the 70s and upper 70s too in the Bay.
Human remains found at a park on the peninsula appear to belong to a Native American person, potentially from as long as 4 centuries ago. Police officers, investigators, and an archaeologist were digging in a blocked-off area of Twin Pines Park in Belmont yesterday. Initially, police thought the remains could be connected to a cold case, but a coroner's report obtained by CBS News Bay Area points instead to a Native American linked to the Tamian Nation.
The tribe is in charge of making recommendations of what should happen to our ancestors. We were in the middle of making our recommendations and was going to do forward with doing a further site visit to make sure there's nothing else in the area, and we weren't allowed to do that.
Well, the tribe says police have essentially disturbed a burial site. They're asking people to avoid that area as they continue to excavate the site. The suspect in a deadly stabbing in San Francisco's Ingleside neighborhood has been charged with murder. Police found the 28-year-old victim at the busy intersection of Ocean and Lee Avenue Saturday afternoon. He was rushed to the hospital but did not survive. The DA's office says the suspect, 29-year-old Sean Collins, was arrested nearby. He is also facing charges of child endangerment. The DA's office is moving to keep him in custody, saying he poses a risk to public safety. A suspect has been arrested for allegedly using a bomb to steal from an ATM at a Target store in San Ramon. Nobody was hurt, but the store on Bishop Drive was damaged back on July 20th. Investigators say Diego Arellano Diaz is part of a Chilean robbery crew known as the South American Theft Group. They say they hit more than 29 banks and credit unions throughout California, Oregon, and Washington. Police say they made off with more than $4 million in cash. If convicted, Arellano Diaz is facing up to 25 years in prison. California has filed yet another lawsuit against the Trump administration, this time over gender-affirming care for transgender youth.
Trump, Bondi, and their allies have undermined trained medical professionals, trampled over states' rights, overstepped their constitutional authority, and endangered vulnerable minors and 18-year-old adults.
The lawsuit is in response to President Trump's executive order that sought to punish medical providers that offered gender-affirming care. The Trump administration calls the procedures destructive and life-altering. The lawsuit complains the federal order is unlawful and says it endangers the well-being of transgender youth. The city leaders in San Jose throwing their support behind a congressional bill to expand protections for undocumented immigrants who are witnesses or victims of crimes. Lynn Ramirez explains why they say that the bill is necessary for public safety now more than ever.
Well, law enforcement here in Santa Clara County say they are starting to see a drop-off in certain crimes, not necessarily because crime is down, but because certain people, especially those in the immigrant community, are afraid to report crimes, or even if they're a victim of crime, because they're afraid of being deported. And so today, a wide coalition of leaders here in Santa Clara County came together to support an effort to push for more protective visas for the immigrant population so they will no longer be afraid to cooperate with police.
Police say they believe serious violent crimes are going unreported, uninvestigated, and unpunished, and it could have to do with recently stepped up ICE enforcement actions in San Jose and elsewhere around the county.
We are seeing somewhat of a decline in reported incidents of domestic violence, sexual assault, and calls for service for disturbances. Those are all the types of things that happen, inside of a home for the most part, and the very kinds of crimes where the survivors are going to have a really have that wrestle with that thought of, if I ask for help, is this going to have an impact for me?
That's why Chief Paul Joseph joined San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, members of the Board of Supervisors, and immigrant community leaders to support a bill authored by Monterey Congressman Jimmy Panetta. The bill would increase the number of U and T visas nationwide, currently capped at 10,000, that would protect crime victims or witnesses who assist police and prosecutors from deportation. The visas can also lead to getting a green card.
Now, the bill that I've put together, the Immigrant Witness and Victim Protection Act, would protect cooperating victims and witnesses by preventing them from being deported while they await processing their UNT visas. It would eliminate that arbitrary cap of 10,000, and it would allow applicants to have work permits while awaiting processing of their UNT visas. It's a very straightforward, simple, commonsensical fix that's needed now more than ever.
Panetta says it's a law and order bill that could find bipartisan support on Capitol Hill.
It helps them know that when they report crime, they will not be deported.
Under Sheriff Dalia Rodriguez says fear in the community has been so high, her deputies have often been mistaken for Border Patrol officers because of the green color of their uniforms.
And people have gone up to our cars and asked us, why is ICE here? And we have to tell them this is not ICE, this is Sheriff's Office. And a lot of the times it takes them a little bit to kind of allow us to continue to do our job.
Dalia is herself an immigrant from El Salvador and says the job of law enforcement depends on community cooperation and trust.
San Jose's Mayor Matt Mahan says the Trump administration's immigration enforcement and rhetoric has had a chilling effect on his city, where more than 40% of residents are immigrants. Well, fresh off her announcement that she's not going to be running for California governor, former Vice President Kamala Harris joined Stephen Colbert last night on The Late Show and talked about her thought process.
Recently, I made the decision that for now, I don't want to go back in the system. I think it's broken. For now, I don't want to go back in the system. I want to travel the country. I want to listen to people. I want to talk with people. And I don't want it to be transactional where I'm asking for their vote.
That was Harris's first interview since losing the presidential election in November. She also talked about her new book about her run for the White House. Governor Newsom weighing in on Harris's decision not to run for governor. That is as speculation grows that the former VP could be leaving open a door for a presidential run in 2028.
Are you connecting the dot? You're trying to connect a CAL FIRE dot in a magnificent way. We'll see where fate brings all of us, and notably her. I wish her nothing but the best.
Not clear if Governor Newsom himself will be making a run for president. Plenty of speculation, though, still ahead. This Bay Area plaza could be turned into housing. Now, the planned development could force some businesses, though, to shut down.
We don't have a mainstream grocery store. We don't have a pharmacy on this side of town.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
things going on for us. Here's the winds this afternoon alone. This is just around lunchtime. Bodega Bay already up to around 25 miles per hour. It gets stronger and breezier into the evening hours tonight, all throughout the Bay Area. And past tonight, all the way into our forecast tomorrow, and throughout the next 6 to 10 days, actually. The Climate Prediction Center is showing above normal conditions throughout the whole state of California as high pressure actually over closer to the Four Corners starts ridging its way over into our neck of the woods. So here's what it's going to look like for us. Today, it's still cool and cloudy right now at the Bay Bridge, and that will start to change as we head into this afternoon. Past the Bay Bridge over into Oakland, off into the East Bay, we'll see 80s today, eventually some upper 80s by tomorrow, and we're talking about 90s in the forecast as we head into next week by Tuesday and Wednesday. You make your way over into the Bay forecast. Now we're talking about our coastal communities all the way along the peninsula. We hold on tight to low 70s for now. We'll see upper 70s as early as next Monday and Tuesday. And then those sunny skies with no cloudy mornings in sight start as we head into our midweek forecast next week. We'll have more on that coming up in just a bit.
Well, a plan to build some much-needed housing in the South Bay now facing some pushback from people in the community. Max Darrow spoke with a longtime Sunnyvale resident about why she's not happy with this planned development.
Throughout her entire life,
During the summer, we would walk up here to the grocery store and get a snack.
Fair Oaks Plaza has been a cornerstone of Deanna Gonzalez's North Sunnyvale neighborhood. It's home to several restaurants, businesses, and the only grocery store in the neighborhood, Taj Mahal Fresh Market.
It's changed quite a lot.
But perhaps the biggest change is on the horizon, and it's one Gonzalez hopes doesn't come to pass.
The plan right now stands as it's housing with very small retail left.
A development proposal is pending to turn the plaza primarily into housing, which would eliminate most of the businesses here today, including the grocery store.
Many of our neighbors walk to this market because they have no other means of getting around.
Sunnyvale has designated Fair Oaks Plaza as one of 7 village centers, places that will be redeveloped into hubs for housing, retail, and outdoor space.
We envision the village centers as multi-use nodes within our city.
Larry Klein is the mayor of Sunnyvale.
We, envisioned kind of what we see in downtown. Retail on the bottom with multifamily housing above. The majority of developers that we have in our community right now are building townhomes.
City leaders recently approved the Village Center Master Plan to redefine zoning for the existing spaces to help better preserve commercial space as they are redeveloped.
To try to say this is where housing and mixed use would be. Here are areas that are retail specific.
But that's for future proposals, not previously filed ones. City leaders say because of state housing laws, they can't change plans in motion.
The residents in those communities, their best efforts are to talk to the developers, and that's what we're doing from a city standpoint, looking to see what incentives that we can provide to change the vision of that original application.
We're not against the housing. We want to see growth, but we also know that there are lots of different parts of Sunnyvale that can be developed into housing.
Gonzalez says Sunnyvale's future does need to include more housing, but she believes the plan in motion will make the neighborhood less livable for current and future residents.
We don't have a mainstream grocery store. We don't have a pharmacy on this side of town.
Her hope:
we encourage not only the owner of the property and the developer to work with the city to reconsider their plan to include more retail.
A blend she thinks would better suit the neighborhood.
We tried to get in touch with the developer to ask them some questions about the project, but have not yet heard back. The former Birkenstock campus in Marin County is going to be transformed into a world-class art and design museum. It's hard to miss when you drive by it on Highway 101 in Novato. It's recognizable by its unique white roof, which you can see from our chopper here. The nonprofit Eames Institute of Infinite Curiosity purchased that building for $36 million. It highlights the work of husband and wife Ray and Charles Eames, who are best known for their mid-century modern furniture designs. Members of the organization dreamed of what they could use that building for, and now they tell us it's all becoming a reality.
But it also is extremely well suited for large-scale art and other kinds of installations, that we're really excited to share with the world. It's really the power of imagination that we're hoping to spark.
Part of the planned collection will include 40,000 objects from the Eames archives. Other artists and designers will also be featured along with other exhibitions. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, college might not be for everyone, but that doesn't mean there aren't other educational avenues people can go down. Meet the students spending their summer learning some seriously sought-after skilled trades.
I really like working with my hands because I feel like I get in a better mindset.
We are going to show you the unique partnership between a Bay Area school district and Muni.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Friday. I'm Ann Makovic. Here's another look at some of our news headlines. Tens of thousands of Deadheads going to be celebrating the Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary this weekend in San Francisco. Golden Gate Park hosting 3 days of Dead and Company concerts starting today. Roads are closed around the park right now, including Middle Drive and stretches of JFK Drive. New information about a possible report of animal abuse that ended with a 71-year-old man shot at least 6 times in Pleasanton. Police say the shooting happened at the victim's home on Vineyard Avenue on Saturday. According to the witness statement, the suspect, Joshua Kaplan, went there to confront the victim about the alleged dog abuse. They say things escalated and Kaplan shot him. He survived, and now police say a veterinarian examined the dog and didn't find any evidence of abuse, so they returned the dog to its owner. Suspect facing charges of attempted murder. Markets in the red this morning after word of new tariffs and a disappointing jobs report. The Dow is down by triple digits right now. That comes after President Trump announced higher tariffs for almost 70 trading partners. They range from 41% to 10% and are set to go into effect next Thursday for most countries. Meantime, the new jobs report shows the U.S. added 73,000 jobs in July, and the unemployment rate ticked up to 4.2%. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast because it is Friday and there are lots of events going on around the Bay Area this weekend. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
We made it to the weekend, and as we dive into this weekend's forecast, we're expecting some warmer weather in our inland spots, kind of like what we're already seeing today over into Antioch, just a little bit more widespread. So for the most part this week and last week and the week before that, and let's be honest, the week before that, we've been all dealing with some cool weather here in the Bay Area. We've all been scratching our head wondering, why has it been so below average? Well, high pressure starting to creep in, and it's going to warm us up and dry us up as we head into the next couple days. And the Climate Prediction Center, I'll show you in just a bit, is showing above normal temperatures widespread throughout California as we head into the next 6 to 10 days too. So 70s and 80s for now throughout most our inland spots. That'll slowly turn into more 80s and some 90s right around the corner, with 70s returning into places like Oakland and San Francisco, and potentially even some 80s in those spots too. Here's what we're gearing up for today, though. Wind speeds are already starting to kick up to around 20 to 30 miles per hour. As we head into the evening hours tonight, that's the same trend anywhere from Bodega Bay all the way down into San Francisco. Some gusty conditions at times in our inland spots, too. Now, next Sunday and Monday, that's when the winds are expected to get even breezier and kick up more, pushing in from offshore. So we're going to keep a close eye on the winds around the corner into next week. For now, let's take a look at that temperature outlook. Throughout the next 6 to 10 days, so the first couple days of August, we're already starting to see warmer temperatures, and we're continuing to build that heat as we head into next week's forecast. Here's what it's going to look like for us in our inland spots right around the corner. We're still holding on tight to low 80s for now. We jump to the upper 80s tomorrow, 90s as we head into next week by Tuesday and Wednesday, and then upper 90s closer to the triple digits as early as next Thursday. That's our inland spots, though. You make your way over into the Bay, a lot cooler, of course, but still, we're going to notice that warm up around the corner, jumping us up to the upper 70s.
More now on those new tariff rates announced by the Trump administration for nearly 70 trading partners. The announcement came ahead of the administration's August 1st deadline. The president also slapped a 35% rate on Canada, one of the nation's top trading partners. Reporter Natalie Brand has details from the White House.
Stocks tumbled Friday morning, reacting to a weak jobs report and new tariff rates revealed for dozens of trading partners, ranging from 41% to 10%.
You know, we're taking in literally trillions of dollars for the country. This is making our country very rich.
The White House says it set the numbers based on trade imbalances and negotiations, but it still came as a shock to some foreign business groups, including in Switzerland, now facing a 39% levy.
We are really stunned. And it is impossible to explain what does it mean and why this decision is made so there is no rationality.
While negotiations are continuing with top trading partners Mexico and China, President Trump increased the tariff on Canadian goods to 35%, citing a lack of cooperation in curbing the flow of fentanyl.
We're seeking the best deal for Canadians.
Prime Minister Mark Carney, pushing back in a statement, wrote Canada accounts for only 1% of U.S. fentanyl imports. He went on to say Canadians will be our own best customer, creating more well-paying careers at home. While analysts say it could take months for consumers to feel the impact of tariffs,
the meat production, the hide production, the feather production can all be decimated.
Small businesses trying to make decisions now say they could be hit hardest.
We want manufacturing in the U.S., but there are some things that we're just not set up to manufacture.
Ryan Vaughn, a cowboy boot manufacturer in Texas who depends on South African ostrich leather, says his made in the USA product relies on global trade.
Well, for most countries, the new rates are going to go into effect next week to give custom officials time to adjust to the changes. A weaker than expected July jobs report. New data shows employment opportunities are not as plentiful as they used to be. The U.S. added 73,000 jobs in July, according to the Labor Department. The unemployment rate rose 0.1 of a point to 4.2%. Many economists had anticipated a slowdown in employment openings caused by weak hiring numbers in a majority of industries. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady explains what this all means.
What this tells you is a lot of the anecdotes that we have heard from businesses, that they are pausing, they're waiting and seeing. They're not doing mass layoffs, which is good, but they're not creating more jobs because there's been so much uncertainty.
Data from May and June's payrolls were also revised downward by 258,000 jobs. Today, millions set to lose important student loan relief under a policy shift from the Trump administration. The change affects borrowers enrolled in the Saving on a Valuable Education Plan, or otherwise known as SAVE. Anyone who signed up for the Biden area repayment plan is going to start seeing their interest accruing in their accounts starting today. Analysts say monthly payments could rise as much as $300 for the typical borrower. The Department of Education announced the plan to restart interest charges last month. Let students get ready for the upcoming school year and ponder their education. Some might find the traditional college route might not be for them. Instead, they find opportunity in the world of skilled trades, and there appears to be a growing need. One example, the American Welding Society says it will need 320,000 welding professionals by the year 2029. To help fill that gap, the San Francisco Unified School District is partnering with the SFMTA for the past 4 years, giving students real hands-on experience working on Muni buses. Ryan Yamamoto gives us a look at the program.
My name's Thomas. I am an upcoming senior at Balboa High School, and I am 16 years old.
For Thomas Navarro, summer school takes place not in a classroom, but inside the SFMTA Muni bus yard, where he and his fellow students from the San Francisco Unified School District have grinded out the past few weeks.
Yeah, it is a skill, but it's a skill you can learn throughout time.
Taking the time to learn essential trade skills from mechanics to repairs.
Make sure not to look directly into it.
Even learning how to properly weld. For Thomas, it was like a light went off about his potential future.
So Thomas, why do you like working with your hands?
I really like working with my hands because I feel like I get in a better mindset, and I feel like I work better because I understand it better.
Let's see, what else you guys touch?
Malay Maloa has run the student program since 2020.
Some more airbags, so we got airbags all over the place.
And he says it's about exposing kids to more than just textbooks.
This is real world experience. Some of this stuff is actually a lost art. We give them their first exposure to our trade, automotive mechanics, our automotive machinists, and our machining and manufacturing. There is a huge need of it. There's a lot of our trades that have been dying, and they haven't had a lot of intake at the lower levels.
And for Thomas, while he says he does well in the classroom, he now feels he has more options beyond the traditional route.
I feel like there is a lot of pressure for people thinking they want to go to college, but I feel like do what your heart tells you to, because it's like at the end of the day, you're paving your own road.
Students taking the opportunity to cut their own path in life.
This year, 10 students from San Francisco Unified went through the program. NASA's SpaceX Falcon 9 crew is heading to the International Space Station at this hour.
3, 2, 1, ignition. Ignition's full power and liftoff. Go Falcon, go NASA, go Crew 11.
Together we rise as NASA's SpaceX Crew 11 heads up to the International Space Station.
Vehicles pitching down range.
That is a look at the liftoff this morning. 4 international astronauts, 3 men and 1 woman, are right now on that rocket. It left the launch pad at 8:43 a.m. Pacific time from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The first attempt was scrubbed yesterday, just 67 seconds before liftoff because of bad weather conditions. The SpaceX capsule is expected to arrive this weekend, and the astronauts plan to stick around in space for at least 6 months. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, we are diving into the effort to transfer California's electrical grid to clean, renewable sources. Meet a scientist who transformed his own home and says you can do it too.
Heading into this weekend's forecast, we're going to start noticing a little bit of a warm up, or a lot of bit of a warm up, depending on where you live in the Bay Area. Our inland spots are going to see the most heat as high pressure starts to creep its way in. It drops our relative humidity, and we're going to see warmer temperatures around the corner too, all the way up into the 90s as we head into next week, which we really haven't seen a lot of in the month of July. Keep in mind, most of us here in the Bay Area have been below average for the past 4 weeks, so we're starting to see some heat build into the Bay, and that means we're going to see a return to the 70s and upper 70s too in the Bay.
Well, Stanford University has hired its next athletic director. Former Nike CEO John Donahoe is going to take on the new role, replacing Bernard Muir, who recently stepped down. Donahoe is an alumnus of Stanford's Graduate School of Business. In addition to his role at Nike, he also spent time leading other companies like ServiceNow, eBay, and Bain & Company. Donahoe is going to be the university's 8th athletic director. His first day on the job is September 8th. The Golden State Valkyries back in action tonight, taking on the Chicago Sky. Last night, the Valkyries beat the Washington Mystics in a game that went down to the final seconds. The Valkyries kept Washington scoreless for more than 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. That defensive effort helped them fend off the Mystics' final score, 68-67. Alana Rupert scored 11 points in her first start of the season. The Valkyries now 13-13 on the season. The Mystics 13-14. In today's Project Earth, we are speaking to a climate scientist who says clean, renewable energy is powering California to levels never seen before. So much so that he put his money and his comfort where his mouth is. Juliette Goodrich has the story.
On the San Francisco Peninsula, a 2-story, 3,200 square foot home with large picture windows. It must cost a fortune to heat and cool this place, right? Wrong.
To run it, it costs nothing. I have not paid an electric bill in 8 years.
Meet Mark Jacobson. Jacobson is a professor of civil and environmental engineering at Stanford University and a climate scientist.
I built this home from scratch. It's all electric. There's no gas on the property.
This is a zero-net energy house. The home generates as much energy as it consumes. All the energy generated is clean and renewable with no polluting fossil fuels.
My whole goal of my career has been to understand and solve large-scale air pollution and climate problems through clean renewable energy systems.
The house is a light steel frame structure with airtight insulation. On the roof, solar panels. In the garage, a home battery system.
So I'm generating my electricity with solar on the roof, and that solar generates during the day, peaks at around noon. I use a lot less energy than I produce, and so that extra electricity first gets stored in batteries, and then the excess beyond that gets sent to the grid.
As for California's electric grid, it's undergoing a major transition to clean, renewable sources. Since 2021, about 25,000 megawatts of renewables have been added to the supply. That's enough to power nearly 250,000 homes. According to Jacobson's research, so far this year, California has run on 100% wind, water, and solar, most every day, for an average 5 hours a day.
Wind, water, solar this year has supplied 57.4% of all of California's electricity.
Those calculations don't include homes equipped with solar and battery systems.
These are sufficient to provide electricity for my home from solar for 24 hours a day for most of the year.
In addition, Jacobson uses energy-efficient electrical devices, including an induction stove.
It uses 60% less energy than gas. It boils water in half the time as gas. In each zone of the house, we have what's called a ductless mini-split heat pump.
To cool or heat the house, a heat pump transfers heat between the indoors and outdoors.
They use about 75% less energy than gas heaters because they don't actually create heat, they just move it. It looks just like any old water heater.
Then there's a heat pump electric water heater. The temperature set at 129 degrees.
It's got plenty of water for lots of showers.
Jacobson got a federal tax credit as well as a state subsidy. He's also collecting data on his home to help inform others about a combustion-free future.
California is aiming to achieve a 100% clean electricity grid by the year 2045. Coming up, it is never too late to achieve your dreams. Well, I got the chance to check off a big item on my bucket list. We're going to take you behind the scenes of filming a CBS soap opera next.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
It is never too late to fulfill a dream, learn something new, or create a new goal. Well, I have always had a thing for daytime drama, even though I'm very much a news person. But last month, we pulled some strings with the people at The Bold and the Beautiful to make it happen. Here's a look.
Little on the nervous side. I was off to CBS Television City to make my soap opera debut.
Just head to that white building with the black CBS logo.
My escort for the day, producer Rachel Herman, saw me in the artist entrance. Within a few steps,
Hi. Oh my God.
we run into The Bold and the Beautiful's main heartthrob. Ridge Forrester was just as dreamy in person, played by Thorsten Kaye. He was very gracious with my entourage, my brother and my mom, and I tried to play it cool.
I'm normally a news anchor in San Francisco.
And I retreated back into my comfort zone, journalist mode.
How close is your personality to your characters?
I have one wife. And we've been together for a long time, and I don't dress like this.
Feeling a little bolder, I was off to get beautiful, starting with wardrobe.
Oh my gosh.
There I met Gina Chapa, who had gone shopping, especially for me.
I stalked you and did some Facebook.
Thank you.
Looking and stuff like that.
I always tend toward black, obviously.
Gina wasn't having any of that.
when I dress the actors that I give them a wild card at the end. But with her, I did wild cards for everything.
We picked out 3 different potential looks, all just outside of my normal comfort zone. And then... Say yes to the dress? Yeah. Before makeup, I got a peek at my dressing room. It's normally the dressing room for John McCook. That is the show's patriarch who was off work that day. Behind the scenes in the control room, where I got to observe alongside supervising producer Casey Kasperzik. We'll hear from Casey in a bit. Hi, I'm Ann. And I was passed off to Toby Lamb to get glam with a fresh face. It was time for hair. By the way, we had to blur the person sitting next to me because, spoiler alert, they are coming back from the dead. Stay tuned. Meantime, surprise, the granddaddy of the Forrester clan in the flesh.
Oh my God, it's in my room. How good.
Thank you for letting me borrow your room.
It's a great room.
And when I told him I'm playing a socialite and a customer of his family's fashion house, he was buying it.
It's one of the things that I've always said, we don't have enough of the Forrester clientele who are glamorous ladies and successful, wealthy people. We don't have those kinds of characters coming in and out.
Here I am.
Yeah. Good, good.
Post brush and fluff, I'm feeling my daytime drama look and ready to reunite with my dress. And who do I find in my temporary dressing room? Heather Tom, writer and actress who plays Katie Forrester.
Hi, Heather.
This is Andrew.
Oh my gosh. No, I am so sorry to cry. I'm not worthy.
Oops, I forgot to play it cool again. But I jumped back into my dress, chose some jewelry, and got sewn securely into my custom outfit, ready for rehearsal. After a little paperwork, one more chance to be a total fangirl before we get to work.
Oh my God. I can't believe I'm
You guys are
in
gonna
this
be right here,
office.
so My co-actors for the scene, the Logan ladies, were all business as I prepared to make my soap opera debut come true.
Quietly, please. Here we go.
Of course, we can't give away too much before the episode actually airs in September, but we did catch up with Casey after the shoot for a little debrief.
I'm always a little concerned, like when we have people coming in guest starring like this, like are they gonna, need a little help, or is it not gonna work out? And I gotta say, she was so much fun to watch. I mean, she lights up on screen, and I think we're gonna see a lot more of Anne's character Rana on The Bold and Beautiful.
Yeah, I still can't even take that in. And I was so thankful for everyone for being so kind to me on the set. It was a busy time for them. They were in the process, actually, of moving all of their sets, their props, and their offices to a new location in LA. So a lot of it was packed up. But of the sets that were still there, it was wild. They just looked so much smaller in person. So the episode where I am making an appearance airs on September 9th. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your First Alert forecast and another look at your top stories.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for joining us this Friday. I'm Ann Makovic. Here's a look at some of our news headlines this morning. Tens of thousands of Deadheads are going to be celebrating the Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary this weekend in San Francisco. Golden Gate Park hosting 3 days of Dead and Company concerts starting today. Roads are closed around the park right now, including Middle Drive and stretches of JFK Drive. Looking at San Francisco's Panhandle, the city says there have been a lot of people coming in from out of town camping in their cars on Fell Street near the park. Park and Recs rangers are there letting them know that's not allowed, though we don't know if the SFMTA has issued any citations. New information about a possible report of animal abuse that ended with a 71-year-old man being shot at least 6 times in Pleasanton.